So that right there is the exact reason I need those little clips I was talking about, because the axle just wants to pop out of the transmission whenever the wheel is turned or pressure's put on it. So in case you guys were wondering what I was talking about, didn't make sense, there you go. There's a little like 3/4 7/8 moon or ring that slips onto the axle, and then that locks it in place. If you guys are familiar with Subarus or changing front wheel drive axles in the first place, you'll know what I'm talking about. We forgot to mention, we got the rear brake lines hooked up. Everything's tight now. I was trying to figure out why I couldn't get any pedal after bleeding and everything. I didn't have the pin in the actual master cylinder rod, so it was just not doing anything until it pushed up against it. We got the pin in there now. It's a lot better. Still have to bleed them. I need help with that. Obviously, I need 2 people, but now the pedal actually works relatively how it should, so that's good. Still having some problems starting it. Every once in a while it sounds like it wants to go, but then it goes to the just constant cranking, no firing. So instead of just floating it out, I'm gonna let the Odyssey charge up off of the Optima red top. She's running. Alright guys, another thing we haven't done yet was mount up these rad fans. The wiring is all ran and ready to go. We just have to secure these to the radiator. Eventually I do plan on making a nice aluminum shroud or getting one made by somebody else, who knows, but eventually we will do that. But for time being, we're just going to use these quick connect things for the fans. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these, and that is what we will use for now. Obviously we're not going to have maximum airflow, and a lot of air is going to be passing through here and so on and so forth, but I think this will give us a good baseline to see how this radiator does, how these fans do, and then we know from there that we can only upgrade and improve with a shroud and blocking off. Well, this side's very tight, not much air coming through there, but this side, a lot of air coming through. We could have made this rad bigger, but it's all good. We'll do that next time. But we're gonna get these mounted up and see how they look, and hopefully test them, let this run all the way up to temp, and make sure they cycle. Alright, we got them mounted up. Kind of screwed up. I should have put this one a little over more to the side. I left exactly enough room to fit this one in here, so, but no biggie. That's why we just did the temporary fitment. This is really just to make sure they operate and that they can at least keep it at temp, at idle, and stuff like that. So we got these. We got to cut off still, but everything is secure, nice and tight. Obviously the rad isn't even mounted, but there's such little slack in these hoses that it barely moves, and I think I'm going to end up changing at least this bottom one just to give it more flex for when it's driving on the road and things are vibrating and stuff like that. We don't want to crack any of these hoses or anything like that and have a catastrophic failure. So we're going to do some changes there, but still in the test phases. This thing warm up, get all the way up to temp, and make sure these fans operate as they should. We have reached about 206, 205, and according to the service manual, the fans are supposed to kick on at 203 for the first stage. obviously they haven't kicked on. So now I'm just gonna wait it out and see what the second temp is. I think it's like 210. As soon as it reaches like 212, I'm shutting it off though. But I think we might have a problem with the way I wired these fans up. Not too sure, but we're gonna have to do some investigating. That I'm thinking about it, I might just have a bad ground because I don't remember if I ever secured the ground for this or not, but I'm not going to do it while it's running. First thing I checked was the what fuse powers the fan relays that we stole the power off of to run our relay. So we're not actually using the factory relay. We're using a aftermarket relay from the fans. So that ended up being fuse 17, which I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but fuse 17 is actually broken. You can see it right in the middle. So this was a 15. I don't know if it was pulling too much amps, but we're gonna put a 20 in, see if that can handle it or if that pops again. The 20 pops, odds are we probably have a problem with our wiring. But we're gonna start her back up, let her run, get back up to temp and see what happens. Alright, so I heard them kick on for half a second while the car was running, and then they didn't come on at all. The fuse is still good, and when I turn the ignition on, you hear the fuel pump, and then you hear the fan kick on for 1 second and then shut off. So for some reason it's not seeing the constant power that it needs to see, or it's not getting enough power. I'm gonna have to do a little diagnosing here. I unplugged the one fan because right now it's all running off of one relay, so I was thinking maybe it's too much amperage on the one relay to run both fans. I'm gonna swap and leave the smaller fan plugged in. I don't think it's gonna make much of a difference, probably only a half of an amp if that. But we're going to plug that one in and unplug the bigger one, see if that changes anything, and then do some more research. But thinking something in the, well, obviously something in the wiring is messed up. Alright, so we got our circlips finally. Ended up just going to the dealer, paying up for them. 13 bucks for 2 of them. Highway robbery. But we're gonna pop these axles out, put these in, and put the axles back in, and we'll be good to go as far as that goes. Still have to do some diagnosing with the radiator fans. I grounded out the signal wire at the ECU pin and the fan ran fine. So next I'm going to do a continuity resistance check all the way from the relay to the pin on the ECU through that signal wire. If we have good resistance, I really truthfully don't know what the problem could be other than the ECU signaling. So we're going to do that, but first I want to get these axles situated because the axles are much more important for driving. The car will most likely stay cool as is on its own if it's moving, and we can always just wire that signal in line to a switch, which is probably what we'll end up doing anyway. Nice. Yep. If you hear that noise, definitely time to change your bearing out.